Hey everyone, Travis here from Gateway Air Guns with another grip review. Today we have the Umarex ReadyAir Compressor. This is their new oilless portable air compressor that is basically maintenance free. It is a very well designed unit. It has a lit up LED display which gives you your temperature of the unit. With the safety parameters. If it's overheating, it'll auto shut off. It's fill pressure, which is adjustable also up here. We'll get into that here in a minute. It has a built-in inverter, so we can run it right off 110 wall power, which comes supplied with the 110 cable, or we can go direct 12 volt with its built-in inverter also. So it's extremely portable. As you can see, it's not very big. We can give it the little scale here. There's a 2-foot level. So you can see it's pretty packable. It's a nice looking unit too. So we're going to go over some of the basic features of this unit when we set it out on the table. Fill times, temperatures, how to adjust the LED, and actually a lot more. I'm going to get some tanks and we're going to fill up some guns and some tanks, and we're going to see how long it takes and see what temperature the unit will get up to, and basically go through every aspect of it. Anyway, let's get her out to the table and see what we can do. Okay folks, we have the ReadyAir on the bench now. What a beautiful looking unit, huh? Very nice. This is our charging tower. This is the intake filter. It's all powder coated, vented. There's pancake fans inside of here like you'd see in a tower. Like I stated earlier, it's 110, which we have plugged directly into our wall power, so that powers up the unit. There's no on-off switch other than what's on the gauge panel, as we can see it here. It's a very nice gauge. Over on the upper left panel, split panel, you're going to see the temperature. That's the current temperature, 64 degrees in Fahrenheit. You can change that to Celsius also. The current pressure, 0.00 psi, and the set pressure down on the bottom right in blue, and the fill time next to it, and then the fan icon above the fill time, showing that the fan is not currently on. So the fan will kick on, I believe, around 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll test that and see. So we can do all of our functions right here with these 4 buttons. Let's turn this way so we don't have the lights blaring on us. Okay, right here. Right now I got it set for 3650. As you can see, we can change that. We're going to hold it for quick or single press it. Let's drop it down to 3000 psi fill pressure. A little bit more. Okay, go up a little bit. Jumped it a hair. Okay, there we are at 3000. This is our set pressure that we adjusted right here. This right here is the minutes, and that's the icon. Here's the current pressure and the current temperature. This is how you start the compressor and stop the compressor if you want to stop it before you get to the set pressure. but that's how you do it. So you can hold it down, that starts it up. Hold it down, that stops it. Or wait for it to get to the set pressure. Okay, so right now I'll simply put a deadhead in the end of the hose. And we'll run it up and see how fast it just fills the system up. Okay, so we have the compressor set at 3000 psi right here that we used our arrows with. Like before, here's our operating temperature. And once again, the fan icon up here when the fan will come on. I simply put the deadhead that's supplied with the unit into the fill whip, and making sure that the recessed return ring is all the way seated. Here's the bleeder. It's on the back of the unit with everything else. This being the front of the unit. Very handsome unit, huh? So we'll go to the back. We got our bleeder closed. We are hooked to shore power. We're at 3000 psi. We're going to run it up using the auto stop feature and see how long that takes. It's not the quietest unit, but it's not bad. Chug-a-lug in there. Unit temperature, unit pressure, unit set pressure. So it came pretty close to where it was set at. Now we just simply vent it here. And we'll remove our deadhead out of the fill whip. And now we're going to use a 22 cubic inch bottle, and we'll fill it all the way up to 3000 psi. See how much time it takes. This is completely dry, has 0 psi in it, as you can see. So we'll fill it from empty, measure the time. The unit got up to about 71 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's super cool to the touch. I mean, you can barely tell that it even ran at all. So at the end of that fill of this 22 cubic inch tank, we will test how much time it took, when the fans came on, and what the temperature got up to. Okay, let's do that now. Okay, here we are. We're sitting at 71 degrees Fahrenheit. The set pressure is 3000 psi. We're at 0. We have the bleeder closed now. We are firmly attached to the fill nipple of our tank. Go ahead and start the unit, and how you do that simply is by setting your set pressure with these 2 arrows, and then hold the on button down until it starts. After that, we're going to run it. I'll calculate time and see what temperature the fans come on, and see what the ending temperature is. I'm not going to show that through this video because sitting here for the next 20 minutes holding this phone over here would be about as boring as watching paint dry. So let me start it, and then we'll show that data. And the little sewing machine is off. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, those fans are loud and the unit's a little bit loud, but it's all for the safety of the unit. The fans came on at 85 degrees. Okay, folks, our finishing temperature, 129 degrees Fahrenheit. "15 minutes is our fill time from empty for a 22 cubic inch tank. You can hear those muffin fans really roaring in there. Our in temperature was a little over 125, closer to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, so it never really got that warm. So we'll go ahead and let this cool off and go over everything. Okay, folks, we are outside, hooked to a 12-volt source. In this instance, it is my wife's little Chevy here. Follow the manual when hooking up this device, because when you're hooking up to 12 volt, the loads are so much higher, and risks of things going wrong are much higher. Know the positive and negative. Be absolutely clear on that. Make sure you have the positive to the positive, negative to the negative. The terminals are tight. I always, when hooking anything to the 12 volt source, hook up my positive first and then my ground. And always, if you're using an automobile, make sure the engine's running when you hook it up. This draws almost 7 amps and it will kill a little battery in no time flat. So just make sure your vehicle's running, you hooked everything up correctly, and then you're ready to go. So we're outside now. It's probably low 50s, high 40s maybe. So we're going to see how that affects our temperature. Hopefully it'll be a little bit lower. And the sound, we got our dB meter out here. About 62 as our background. We have our 22 cubic inch tank here. It is empty, so no pressure in it. And we're going to do the same thing as we did before. We're going to run it, this time off a 12 volt source, see what temperature it gets up to and how long it takes to fill it. And that's pretty much it. So let's get to it. So as before, we have the gauge up here. We have our set pressure at 3000. The current temperature of the unit is 98 degrees because we just got done running it. So I haven't let it cool down, which I don't think it really needs to. I mean, I wouldn't recommend grabbing hot things, but I tested this with my meter inside, so I already knew it was well below 100 degrees. Anyway, let's go ahead and start it up. First, let's make sure our bleeder's closed. Bleeder's closed. We're safely connected. Our ring is in the right position, and start it up. First thing I can tell you right now, being outside, it's not nearly as loud. Inside, it's pretty loud. Yeah, with the walls inside, I was getting a lot of echo, even though the decibel meter was about the same. It was fairly unpleasant. But out here, it's fine. I did not hear the car RPM drop, so it's probably a little bit more efficient on DC than it is AC. Anyway, we'll see how long it takes to fill this 22 cubic inch tank up from empty. We've been running it for a couple minutes. I just wanted to check in. The one thing I can tell you, running on DC, it seems to be turning slower RPM. So it might take longer to fill up, possibly. We'll find that out though in the end. The other thing is, it's because it is much cooler out here, and those muffin air fans are moving a lot of air, it's running considerably cooler. Considerably. We were near 130 before. Yeah, and it's right at 87 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really cool. So the safety features of this compressor are really great. Now, over temperature protection. It has a, if we did hook up those cables wrong, which we didn't, it would have popped the fuse. So we got our fuse there intact. It has fans to let you know, lights to let you know the fans and things are working, and auto shut off. So when Umarex was making this compressor, they were really thinking about safety concerns above all else, and it seems to be one of the best designed compressors in that aspect. Anyway, we'll let it run for a while and then we'll come back and check time and temperature. I just heard the compressor shut off. I'm sitting in the car because it is cold out there. 43 degrees. Okay, it took 17 minutes, which was a little bit longer than, go ahead and disconnect the power source here, which is about 2 minutes longer than it took inside. We'll bleed her off, pull her bottle, which makes sense. Turning a little slower off of 12 volt direct than it did off of 110. Also, you know, you have temperature too. You know, it's 80 degrees in the house and 43 degrees outside. The maximum temperature was basically about 90 degrees, so it was considerably cooler out here running, which is great. So overall, I'm going to say, you know, the compressor does exactly what Umarex intended it to do, be a maintenance-free, zero oil compressor. There's very little for you to do maintenance-wise on this compressor. Completely portable. It's nice to look at. It has safety features that most other compressors don't have, like the high temperature shut off, which is adjustable, by the way, I do believe, in the owner's manual. You know, adjustable set pressure, a well-lit LED display. Runs off of 110 or 12 volt. You don't have to carry an inverter around at all. It's totally self-contained. So yeah, it's exactly what they intended. Here is the 40 amp breaker. I'm sorry, not breaker, but fuse. You want to put that in there. Yeah, get it in a second. My hands are cold. Yeah, it's pretty cold out here, guys. Anyway, it filled that 22 cubic inch tank up in 15 minutes indoors, 17 minutes outdoors. Max temperature indoors, 129 degrees Fahrenheit. Outdoors, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Fully self-contained. Like I said earlier, price point, I believe it is $5.99, which is incredible. I mean, it's a lot. You're getting a lot for a sub $600 compressor, and of course, you know, the warranty and service that Umarex provided is second to none. Anyway, gang, Umarex ReadyAir Compressor. Go out and get yourself one of these. You won't regret it.